I'm very excited about doing this class. I'm nervous because I dreamed during the night twice that I missed it totally. Woke up at 11 o'clock. I never sleep till 11 o'clock. But I woke up at 11 o'clock going, but I'm like, they didn't call me, so they must have done the class for me. You know? I'm like, nobody called going, where are you? So anyway, so I'm a little nervous because I'm always nervous when I do a new class, a new routine. But you know what? I've just decided it doesn't have to look like, you know, the Food Network where they have all these preppers. It's me and Caleb and a couple of people, and we do it live right in front of you. So, but I am very, very excited about this class. I think you're going to get excited. I'm only going to do a few things for you today, but the possibilities with crepes are endless, endless, endless. But I wanted to share a little word with you this morning. In fact, it's so funny. Every time I do a cooking class, I pray for the week ahead, the whole week, you know, for everybody that's coming, and that the Lord would give me a special word of encouragement for that day. And it's just been amazing over the years now, all these years, how He has always given me a scripture, you know, for that class, very pertaining to it. So this week, I don't know what has happened this week, but it's just been one of those weeks where my time with the Lord has not been what I wanted it to be. So I'm walking out the door at 10 after 7 this morning. I've been up since 6, because I'm like, the alarm went on. I'm like, I'm not snoozing. I'm getting up because I'm afraid I'm going to sleep through the class. And so as I'm walking out the door, I was like, oh, I don't even have a word. Haven't even asked the Lord for one, and He hadn't given me one. So I thought, oh, well, I guess I just won't give it today. So I thought, no, I'm getting my Bible. And so all the way here, I'm like, Lord, I know this is lame. I'm praying for you to, if you want me to share something. If you don't, I just won't, But I like, so I came and I read my little verse of the day, my calendar, and I was like, that wasn't it. Okay, Lord, then I won't share. And then all of a sudden, He just reminded me something for the last really 2 weeks. And even this week, though I haven't had my intimate times with Him like I usually have, He's been just saying it to me over and over and over. And a couple I do have it on. Okay. Anyway, so I prayed that morning very specifically for an answer for something very specifically, and that night the Lord answered my prayer. I didn't realize till the next day that was the answer to my prayer. Good? All right. Anyway, back to the story. So it was difficult, and I didn't even realize till the next day that it was an answer to prayer. And though I cried a lot and everything, but over the next week, all the Lord kept saying was, the Lord hears me. Or I kept saying that. And I thought of the story of Lazarus. Do y'all know that story? It's in John, is it 13? Might be 11. I can't remember what chapter in John, where the story of Lazarus, where Jesus goes and He prays for Lazarus to be raised from the dead. But before He tells Lazarus to come forth, He thanks the Lord and says, I thank you that you hear me. And over the course of the next week, going through that difficult trial that I was going through, everywhere I turned, I read a psalm. Psalm 66, verse 19 says, the Lord hears me. And I picked up, I'm reading a biography of George Mueller, and it's actually his diary. And the day, I opened it up, and I've been kind of reading little bits at a time over the course of several months now, but I opened it up, and he was saying, I wrote in my diary, the Lord hears me. And so this morning, when I was feeling a little, I don't know why I'm getting a little emotional here, I was just a little weary, a little tired, a little stressed, going, I don't even know what I'm doing. This class is going to be terrible, and I don't even have a word, and I haven't prayed, and Lord, here I'm coming to you going, bless me, and I haven't even sought you. And the Lord just wanted me to remind you and remind myself that he hears us. He hears our prayers, and I think if you've been a Christian a long time like I do, and you pray a lot, I think sometimes that doesn't really sink in, especially if you prayed for something a long time and you haven't seen the answer yet, which I have lots of prayers like that sometimes we pray and we know to pray, and we sit in Sunday school and everybody gives their prayer requests and, oh yeah, bless them, heal them, da da da, and we go away. And do we really sit down and go, God, the maker of heaven and earth, the creator that speaks and all things come into existence, all he has to do is say the word. He just heard you. He heard the cries of your heart. So I don't know where you're at today. I know where I'm at. I'm a little under it, going through some things. But I just want to encourage you, number one, to pray. You have a God that cares, and you have a God that hears. And he hears you. And I think of the story of Daniel, where Daniel had prayed, and all of a sudden the angels show up, and they said, we're late because we were doing this battle. The day you started praying, it started, And we don't see all that goes on in the heavenly realm. But I promise you, God has heard your prayers today, and he is answering you. So hang in there. Be encouraged. There may be a battle going on in the heavenly realm that you don't see. So let's just pray and thank the Lord this morning before we start. Lord, I thank you for this beautiful day. Some people may not think it's so beautiful if it's rainy and chilly and damp and dreary, but I actually thank you for this beautiful day. It brings us a slowness to us that causes us to rest and to rest in you and to be still and know that you are God. I thank you, Lord, today that you hear us, that you hear our prayers, you hear the cries of your heart, of our hearts. And I think of the story of Moses being sent to deliver Egypt. You said to him, I have heard the cries of my people. And I just pray now, Lord, as we face difficult times in our nation, and many of us may be facing difficult times in our families, in our finances, in our jobs, in our whatever, in our lives in general, that you hear us when we cry out to you. And all you want is for us to cry out to you and to come to you because you care about us. And I just thank you for that. I ask a real blessing on today's class. I'm a little disjointed here, but I just pray that you would bless this time that I have with these people to show them what you've taught me, Lord. And I just thank you for the food that you've given us to nourish our bodies. And I pray that as we come back to you, you will cause us to get excited about preparing and eating the food that you've given us to nourish us and our families, Lord, so that everything we do could bring glory to your name, even our physical health. In Jesus' name, thank you for this time. Amen and amen. Crepes. I always thought crepes were very delicate, very dainty, very difficult to make. Y'all are just going to be shocked. They are not at all, and they're not that delicate. So you're just going to be very, very happy to learn how to make them, and the things that you can do with them are endless, from a snack to an elegant dessert to a simple sprinkle it with some sugar and put some fruit on it, or drizzle it with some chocolate. There's always some chocolate involved usually, but it's very savory. It can be breakfast, lunch, dinner, midday snack, elegant dessert. So I think you're just going to be very, very excited to learn how to make them, have them on hand at all times, and you'll have something that can just ooh and wow your guests or your children, or they'll just think you just created the most elegant thing in the world. So I think you're going to be excited. They're kind of a cross in my mind between an omelet and a pancake. They're typically thought of as a very, very thin pancake, but they have a lot more egg than flour. Basic ingredients are egg, milk, flour, salt. Some use oil, some do not. And if you go online, you will see a variety of methods of mixing them, and some say let them sit, some say don't. So I have discovered the sky's the limit. Find a recipe that you like. I found two that I really love, and I did the unthinkable. I've made a recipe here that I've not tried at all. how many of y'all do that? Try new recipes when company's coming? It's a big mistake, but I do it regularly. It's kind of like you want to try this kind of fancier thing than you usually make, so you do it when company's coming. Well, I'm doing it today. We'll see how that batch comes out, you know, because I have had some batters that I didn't like as much as others. Some had oil, some didn't. So really, you know, just I encourage you, go online and look at things like that. I have my notes all out of order. They're very popular in France. That's where they are believed to have been created the first time. But they're in the little northwest region of France, but it's now like considered the national food of France. There are creperies, they're called, everywhere, from street vendors to fast food chains to elegant restaurants. And like I said, the possibilities of serving crepes is so endless that every restaurant or fast food or street vendor that you may go to will have just a completely different array of crepes. Brad and I recently went to Baltimore to the Natural Foods Expo, and we were just walking around downtown looking for where we wanted to eat, reading the little menus on the side, and this little place on the side of the road, they had hamburgers and other things. They had a whole crepe menu, and it was all kinds of things, just very unusual. So that's the way it is with crepes. It's just so diverse, the things that you can do with it, that the possibilities are endless. And if you go to crepe restaurants, you'll see the menus vary from restaurant to restaurant. It's not like, you know, hamburger. What can you do with a hamburger? Basically the same things. And they can go from sweet to savory, like I said, main course to dessert to snack to whatever. Turning out a batch of crepes is actually very rewarding. It's like I said, it's kind of impressive. People think that you're really got it together if you know how to make crepes. They can be made with either plain batter or you can sweeten a batter. I have made all of mine until today just with plain batter. Even the dessert crepes, I've not put any sweetener in them. You're going to find that the crepes are so delicate and really almost flavorless. They're almost like a noodle, you know, and that they really don't have a lot of flavor if you make them plain. And they don't really need a lot, so because you're going to put that filling is just going to bring out the flavor. But I have made a dessert batter today that I did put some sweetener and some vanilla, but common things you can use liqueurs like orange liqueur or flavorings like that to make the crepe flavorful. You can use herbs and spices in the batter if you want, or you can simply just make them plain so you have them on hand and you can use them any way you want. Traditionally, this is what I thought was very interesting. Traditionally, crepes were always made of buckwheat flour until about 100 years ago. And so I thought, wow, this could be really cool for gluten-free people that are trying to go gluten-free or avoid gluten or just want to break from so much gluten. And so I actually thought, well, I'm going to try the buckwheat flour. I love the buckwheat flour. I like it the best. The crepes are more sturdy. They come out just, I didn't have any mess ups when I had used the buckwheat flour. Traditionally though, buckwheat flour crepes are your more savory, are usually used for your savory crepes, and wheat flour is used for your sweet crepes. But I'm going to use them everywhere today, and I've made predominantly buckwheat crepes. I haven't made that many wheat flour crepes. Anybody here gluten-free, trying to go gluten-free? Okay, several of you. I'll try to remember which, it's the strawberry cream cheese filled crepes, but we can do one with some buckwheat so you can have it. Now, I didn't get a chance to try it with alternative milks like rice milk or almond milk, but I don't see why it wouldn't work. I mean, I just really don't see. Eggs, you're going to have a hard time getting around eggs if you have an egg issue, but because those are the main ingredients: egg, milk, flour, salt. That's it. So anyway, but I thought that was very interesting that buckwheat was the traditional flour used. Cooking crepes, I discovered that some recipes call for letting the batter set after you mix it. Some didn't. And I've done it both ways. Hadn't seen a huge difference in the two. Some say you can make the batter ahead, up to a day ahead, put it in the refrigerator. But if you do that, you want to take it out and at least let it come to room temperature before you make the crepes. I did read that letting the batter sit does make a more tender crepe. Like I said, I have done it both ways, and I guess I'm not a crepe connoisseur or a real, picky eater, because I couldn't tell a huge difference between the two. The main thing I saw, what really made the difference, was the thickness of batter, getting the batter the right consistency. One place I read, and I thought this said it exactly, the batter should be about the thickness of heavy whipping cream. Do you know how heavy whipping cream just has some consistency? It's not too runny, not too thick, but it's got a nice texture to it. You'll see when we mix up the buckwheat batter. For preparing crepes, you don't need a special crepe pan. You can cook it in a frying pan, and I'm actually going to show you both methods this morning, but I'm going to tell you something. Caleb and I both, we were kind of looked at this little thing and we're like, oh, whatever. They sent us a sample. Oh my goodness, I have fallen in love with it. It's really, really, really fun and easy to use, and he was very skeptical too. This is my son Caleb. Sorry, I keep pointing over there to him, but and I found you got a more consistency thickness of crepe, and it was just very, very easy to use. So I've fallen in love with the crepe maker, but just know that you don't have to do this. You can use a frying pan. You can choose, typically they say about a 6-inch. This one's about a 5-inch, or well, I guess, yeah. 5 or 6-inch pan, but you can certainly use a 10-inch pan if you want. The difference is you're going to use more batter. So, and I think in your handout, there's a page after the recipes. There's a page that says making on the back side of the recipes is there something called making the crepes, and those are just little tips there for mixing up the dough and making the crepes. And I think I tell you, yeah, for a 6 or 7-inch pan, you're going to use about 1/8 of a cup of batter. For an 8 to 10-inch pan, you're going to use about 1/4 cup of batter. So that's the only difference, and it just depends on what you want to do with it. And there's many ways to serve crepes. You're going to see I'm going to just roll some, like the chicken and asparagus crepes that we're going to make. I fold some and make them little squares and pockets, or you can fold them in quarter folds, fold them in half and fold them again and make little triangles. So there's, I mean, really, really, the sky's the limit. And I want to encourage you with this and tell you, always, always, always expect one dud. Usually the first one. Just know, and that is kind of, to me, the cook's reward. So just make sure you have some chocolate or some little powdered sugar sitting beside or something, some kind of fruit. One night I kept messing up I don't know what I was doing that night, and I messed up several, and I just grated some chocolate over it and had some raspberries and put them on it, and then just kind of smashed them and folded it, and Caleb and I, it was delicious. Didn't matter that it didn't look pretty. It was, who cared? I'm the cook, and nobody knew but me and him, and it was delicious. So eat your dud and don't worry about it. Crepes do not have to be paper thin. They can be as thick or as thin as you want them to be. And again, I find the thickness of the batter kind of determines how thick your crepe is going to be. If you're with the crepe maker, they're going to be pretty consistent depending on the consistency of the batter. If you do them in a frying pan, it's going to be how fast you rotate that pan and how much batter you put in that pan. Okay? Crepes can be made ahead and refrigerated, so you have, or frozen, and they're really not that delicate. Hang on, let me see if I've got my. I always thought they were super, super delicate and they were going to just stick together. You don't even have to put anything between them, and they'll just peel up with just a little tug, even, and so they don't stick like your tortillas. You can stack them up, put them on, slide them into a Ziploc bag and freeze them or refrigerate them and use them however. They warm very, very quickly. Usually let them come to room temperature before you wrap them. When you fill them, they can be made ahead too. So, and just have them on hand. Back one Christmas, I found a recipe for cheese blintzes, which, by the way, other countries have crepes besides France. They're just called by different names. The blintz, it's basically a crepe filled with a cheese mixture and then served with fruit. And we're going to have those today too. So there's lots of things you can do. You can prepare those totally ahead and then bake them or fry them or whatever you're going to do, and they just really don't take a long time to heat up. So read over the little tips here, and like I said, don't worry about mess ups, relax, and have fun with the crepes. So let's mix up a batch of crepe batter first, and then I have something very exciting. When I left yesterday, there was only 15 people in the class, and somehow we now have about 22, but I'm still going with it. I'm going to let each of y'all come up and make a crepe with the crepe pan. So, but we're going to mix up some batter first, and I'll just show you the technique, if there is one. There again, I've actually seen it done two ways. I've seen putting the flour and the salt in the bowl, just like you would a muffin or pancake, making a well in the center and adding the eggs. I've seen that method of mixing, but the most common method of mixing up the crepes that I've seen is to mix up the eggs, the salt, and the milk first. So I'm not kidding you. I don't think this is rocket science, and I don't think there's a lot of hard, fast rules like maybe with some other foods. So I really want you to be encouraged about the crepes. You had a question. I don't think the tortilla maker is going to work because you don't press them, and you really need to be able to tilt. A frying pan is going to work just fine, and you'll see if you don't want to invest in the crepe maker, okay? But I just really don't think the tortilla maker is going to work, okay? So I'm making the basic crepe batter, so I've got my 4 eggs. I could have sworn I had my milk and, oh, okay.
I'm going to take this one over there to the counter so I can do, some people can do it over there.
Oh, okay. You want to do that?
Yeah.
Some people can do it over there? Have it all.
Is this batter ready?
Yes. Just hang on a minute. Let me just show them what it kind of looks like. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add my milk. And it calls for a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I've seen as much as a 1/2 teaspoon, as little as a 1/4 teaspoon, with about the same amount of milk and eggs. So there again, I think it's a preference there. I don't think it's a hard and fast rule. Huh? I think it'd be awfully bland without the salt. Salt really kind of brings out the flavor of things. But I mean, if you're used to eating no salt, then yeah. Or what? You cannot eat salt, then don't put it in. You're used to that flavor, so yeah. Okay, so now we're just going to stir our flour in. I saw methods that said to blend the batter in a blender. I didn't see any need for that. Which, by the way, this batter is the soft wheat I'm using here. I do find that letting it sit a little bit and then stirring it again, because of the fiber that's in your whole grain flours, it'll soak up, it absorbs some of that liquid, so you might have to adjust. So don't be too quick to adjust the thickness or thinness now. Let it sit a little bit and then come back and see what it's like. If you do need to thin it, you can always add just a little water. I'm going to add just a little bit here. All right. And this one is the basic crepe recipe at the top with soft wheat flour. I'm actually going to rinse this one. I found that the buckwheat flour was a lot smoother batter. And you can see the texture. I think even from there you can see the texture of the buckwheat flour. It also seemed to absorb a lot more water, a lot more of the liquid, and so I found I had to thin it a little bit more. And you'll see with the buckwheat flour, the recipe calls for quite a bit more liquid than the wheat flour one. Okay? All right. Well, I am going to, I think first I will make one in the pan while my crepe maker is heating up, and then I'll show you one with the crepe maker, and then I'll let everybody come up and make some. So you want to get your pan hot, and again, like I said, the only thing that's going to differ here is if you use a bigger pan, then you're just going to use more batter, okay? For this pan, it's about 1/8 of a cup. Love our little measuring cups. If you've not seen these, have y'all seen these? Love them. Did you see them? And the measuring spoons? There's all you need is the 3 cups. There's your cup. That's 1/2 cup. 2/3, 1/3, 1/4, 1/8. Love them. Love them, love them. All right, so I'm going to baste my pan with a little butter here. Kind of do medium heat. Okay, while that's heating, I'll go ahead and mention the features on the Crepe Pan. I love it. What can I say? It's got your plate, your heating plate. You just plug that in, put the crepe maker on, turn it on. The light will come on when it's ready, when it's heated, and then when you dip it in the batter, the light will go off, and then it will come back on. I'm sorry, the light will go off when it's ready, when it's heated. So it turns on in the beginning, then it turns off when it's hot and ready to go. You dip it in the batter, put it on the heating element again, and the light comes on when the crepe is ready. So how easy is that? It's very brainless. All right. So you kind of medium-high heat here. This is my buckwheat batter. What you want to do if you're going to use a pan, you want to make sure you lift the pan off the burner when you put the batter in. Put it on the side, and then you're going to tilt the pan to coat the bottom of the pan. If it starts getting done and you end up with a little holes like I did there, then just fill them in with just a little bit batter and tilt it. All right. This burner turns off if you lift the pan off. It's a safety feature, so it's a little difficult there. All you're doing is waiting. It doesn't take long to cook. The crepe will kind of look dry on the top. And all you're going to do then is flip it over and let it cook on the other side once it gets dry. And see, it's just really not that delicate. You can actually just pick it up with your hand and turn it over. Okay? But the secret is putting that batter in and tilting that pan around to spread the batter out. And I think with a pan, a little thinner batter is probably going to work easier for you. Okay? So just know that. You might want to thin the batter a little bit more if you use a frying pan. Okay? So there's our crepe there. And I think for a dinner crepe or a crepe that you're going to maybe do 2 folds on, you know, a bigger crepe would be fine. And like I said, you just use more batter, about 1/4 cup if you're using the 9 or 10 inch pan. So it really doesn't take that long to cook. And there's your crepe. How about that? Okay? That was hard, right? All right, I'm going to move this out of the way for just a few minutes while we make some crepes. Unless anybody wants to try. Do y'all want to try the pan as well, or do you want to just use the crepe maker? I'll leave it here in case someone wants to try the pan. Oh, I just made a mess. Okay, all right. With the crepe maker, it comes with this little dish. You pour your batter into the dish, and now all you're going to do, my light has gone out, so my pan is ready. You're going to take it, you invert it, and I found kind of a rolling method. You're going to kind of start at one side and just kind of roll it, and then lift it up, and there's your crepe. is really, really easy. Takes about a minute, maybe less. So the light is on now, and when it goes off, then I know that the crepe is ready. Okay? No, it cooks just like this. You'll see. Just a second. I don't know. I should have found out. How much are they? $49? How much? $37.99. Okay. Like I said, when I asked for the sample to be sent, Caleb and I both kind of took it out of the box. And we're like, oh, you can do them in a pan. Oh yeah. The more I use it, I love it. I absolutely, and I think you could easily teach your kids how to do it. It just would be, whereas that takes a little bit of dexterity. Okay, my light has gone out. This is the fun part. Watch this. If it doesn't fall right off, you just kind of loosen it. Doop, there you go. There's your crepe. All right. So now it's ready to just go again. There you go. And that's what I'm saying. The thickness of the batter here makes all the difference in the world. And I absolutely love the buckwheat batter. If you want to start with kind of a no-fail one, try the buckwheat batter first. The flour tends to stay mixed together a little better. That's the only thing I did find, that when I got down to kind of the end here, it was a lot of flour and not very battery. So you're going to lose a little bit there, because then it wouldn't stick. It would just kind of fall apart. So you'll see when we get down to the end there. Okay, I'm waiting for my light here. Caleb, you hot over there? All right. Did I give you some batter? No. Okay, so this is the batter I mixed up this morning, right? Yeah, that's the one I made earlier. Okay, this is the batter I mixed up this morning, so it's been sitting here for about an hour. This is buckwheat batter, so I thought I'd let y'all try the buckwheat batter. And we'll just let everybody come up and have a turn at making crepes. Here you go.
Did you just turn this back on, or has it been on the whole time?
It's been on. You can turn it off. All right, my light's off. And it does come with a little spatula, but it's really not that hot. You saw even with the pan, the easiest thing is just to grab it with your fingers. And there, it doesn't matter if it gets a little brown. So there's our crepe, okay? And the first time you use it, you might want to just have a little butter nearby or oil and just baste it. But I found it didn't need it hardly at all. Maybe about every 7 or 8, I would just baste it with a little butter. All right, who wants to go first? This table. Y'all look like you're ready. Come on. I know this is going to slow things down a little bit, but I thought this is what we're here for. All right. The secret is when you put it in, you want to kind of start at one side and just kind of roll it. And then I kind of go like that and then lift it. Ready? All right. Just pick it up.
It's really light.
Yeah, it is. That's right. And then I just kind of do like that. And you don't want to go too deep with it. Like you don't want to smash it down in there. There you go. And put it on. Yeah. Yep, just put it on. You don't want to smash it way down in the batter, because if you get it too deep, like on the edges, then it kind of really sticks and doesn't fall off as easily. So,
was yours as thin as that?
no, that looks a little thinner than mine, but that's okay. And if you lift it up and it looks like it didn't coat it very well, just dip it back in. Dip it in again until, because especially when you get down to the bottom, you'll find that maybe a little holes come up there. Just dip it. Double dip it. You can double dip here. So it's all right. Okay. We're waiting on the light to go out. I tried a chocolate one, and you can add cocoa and sweetener to them, and that one had butter in it. Okay, the light went out, so now you just invert it and see if it doesn't just fall off.
Oh,
there you go. It did. And see, they're not that delicate. There you go. All right.
Okay, thank you. Okay, what did I just
All right, you just just kind of turn it all the way over. But, whoops, just turn it all the way over. Uh-oh, whoa, you kind of went too deep there. Hang on, turn it there. There you go. All right, let's see how we did. Yeah, looks good.
Not too deep.
Yeah, You don't want to put the side in. You want to turn it completely flat.
I did put the side.
That's all right. We'll make you clean it up.
Does it clean up easy?
It does. It wipes right off.
Good.
Yeah. So that's why I'm saying I maybe kind of gave, you misunderstood. You don't want to dip it this way and then over. You want to turn it completely upside down, but just slightly start at one side and rotate it. All right? Okay.
Light's still on.
The light is still on.
It's thick, too.
It's okay. It'll be fine. Oh, yeah. And that's what I read everywhere. People have this idea that crepes have to be like paper thin. They don't. They really don't. One of the things that I did, there you go. Okay, just turn it upside down and see. Now it might not, go ahead, flip it all the way over. Okay, if it doesn't come on, there you go.
There, it did.
Yep, and see, now that's what I find. If I get it a little too much on the edge, it'll tear a little bit because it's stuck in the seam there. I think I just turned it off. You just do this. If that ever happens, just do that, and you're ready to go. All right? Okay. Next. Who wants to go? Come on. Y'all want to do it? If you don't want to do it, you don't have to, but I figure you want to. Yes, you can. All right, she wants to try with the frying pan. Let me let it get hot again. I'm going to get y'all a new cup there. That one got kind of...
If you take a photo, Grandma's disowning you.
All right. Well, I hate to tell you this. It's live stream, so they're watching you online.
All right. Grandma, then I am really disowning you.
Okay. Okay. All right. Let's let her go ahead and start with this. All right. Come on. You're going to turn it completely upside down. Hang on. Did I turn it off? No. Okay. All right. Go ahead.
No, it's not.
All right. Completely flat. Nope. Yep. No, complete. Now, there you go. And now just kind of, yep, just down in, a little bit more than that. A little more than that. You got, there you go. There you go.
That's leaky.
There. That's okay. There you go. Now, when the light goes out, it's ready. All right. And you're going to take 1/8 of a cup here. And I will let you try a dessert one.
Okay.
The recipe I've never tried before.
Uh-oh.
All right, let's give it a little stir. And if you're, some recipes called for butter. If you do let the batter sit and the butter kind of separates out, just stir it back in. It's okay. And that was another thing that I learned making crepes. It's a good thing to just keep your wire whisk there and stir. Just stir every few crepes. Just keep stirring the batter. All right, so you're going to want to use about 1/8 of a cup. You want to lift the pan off the...
Should I get the 1/8 cup first? And then
Yes.
the pan?
I guess so.
And lift it off the burner. Yep.
Oh,
And then,
off.
okay, you're ready. You can dump.
And then just pour it on and stir around.
Yeah, just pour it in and then really dip it all around. There you go. The little tool comes with it. Okay, very good.
Wow.
Okay, we might have gotten that pan a little hot.
Yeah.
All right.
Now I can go kill my
Yeah,
grandma.
let's just sit it there. All right. Anybody else want to try the crepe maker? Okay. It doesn't matter. Oh, you can put it back on the burner once it, yeah.
Sorry.
All right, yeah, and I think now all you have to do is just pick it up and flip it over. Yeah. There you go. See, it kind of looks a little more like an omelet.
No.
There we go. All right, you want to try this?
I'm going to do the pan.
All right, go ahead. You're ready.
Just how will I know when this is done?
Just slightly tip. Yep, there you go. Perfect. Yep. There you go.
Wow.
It should be done. It really should be done. Let me get a little. There you go. And just pick it up. There's hers.
Awesome.
All right.
Go ahead.
And if you want to baste this with I find the pan might need a little more butter than the crepe maker here.
And you want me to use this batter, Sue?
Yes. Mm-hmm. That's actually the buckwheat batter, isn't it? Yeah, got to be fast with tipping.
Okay.
Yeah, you got to really tip it fast because it doesn't take long to cook. Is that gone out yet? Nope, it's still there. There it goes. Okay. And like I said, if it sticks a little bit, you can either use the tool that comes with it, or I just found my finger worked just fine. There you go. Isn't that too easy?
That is awesome.
All right, next. Did you flip it? I'd flip it. Just you can just either, yeah, I just grab it with my fingers. Yep. All right. Completely like this. Turn it over the plate. Completely like that. And then just slightly at an angle go in one side and then just like that. There you, whoop, we didn't quite get it.
Need one of those.
There you go.
I like that. I wanted to see it. Now I'm like, okay, I want that one.
Okay, there you go. See?
This is what I have for now.
Yep. All right. That one's probably ready. There you go. And they really don't stick together that much when you cook them. Because I was a little nervous. I piled a whole tray full yesterday. I made them and covered them and put them in the refrigerator. And the main thing is you really want to tilt that pan very quickly. So if you, yeah, just, there you go. Okay, put a little more in there maybe in the middle there. Yep. Yes, you can freeze them. Okay. Okay. I think you just clicked off here. Yep. Okay. Did it? Light off? Yep. Okay. There you go. How easy was that?
That's really cool.
Yep. All right.
I got it too thick in the middle. When
It'll be all right. We'll put just a little butter on. Okay. Completely upside down. Are you a lefty?
I am.
All right. Completely upside down and then just kind of, yep. I find if you kind of circle it just a little bit like that, yep. See if it coated it. Yeah. Very good. Let's double dip it just a little bit there. All right. The batter will get a little thicker.
Do I know when that's done?
It looks, when this kind of dries out, then flip it over.
Okay.
Yeah, just grab it with your fingers
then
and flip
flip
it. There you go. Very nice. Yours looks very nice. All right. I can't remember which batter this is. Now I've got myself all confused. Hey, Caleb. Can I get some more? That's the buckwheat batter over there. Do you have any more? There you go. Oh, we're going to do all kinds of things. You can add sweetener. Put it in here, would you? All right. Oh, let's see. Is it still on? It should go off. There it goes. Yep. There you go. You're going to try the pan? All right. Just go ahead. Why am I doing? Oh, look what I did again. All right. Yep, I'm going to, yep, let me get a little whisk here. And if this batter, like I said, it tends to get thicker the more you use it. So if you need to thin it with a little water, then thin it, okay? All right, completely straight and just slightly tilt and go one side and then just kind of, there you go. Not too thick, there we go, and then kind of rotate. I kind of do like that. I kind of go like that at the end. There you go, okay. Yeah, we missed it. There we go. There you go. Not that big a deal to just double dip and go again. How you doing there, girlie?
Well,
Flip it.
So flip it now?
Yeah, just grab it with your fingers. It's not that hot.
I'm anxious to see the difference in the taste.
Yeah. These are wheat. I forgot. These are wheat.
Those are not.
Yeah. These are buckwheat.
Okay.
So
All right.
do you know that this is done now? How do I know?
Pretty much, it just doesn't need that much cooking. So as long as it's dried out.
Take it out?
Yep. There you go. Okay.
Perfect.
Very good. You want to try the pan or the?
We did that. Yeah.
And what temperature do you normally?
I've got this one kind of medium. This gets really hot, so it looks a little lower. I think on your burner at home, you're going to want medium. Did the light go out? All right, let's see. Let's just kind of see. We got a little deep on that edge. Yep, that's okay. Yeah. There you go.
Okay. So it cooks both sides at once?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I decided to come in when I came to get wheat.
There you go. Okay. Just have at it there.
Okay, what
Just
are we doing?
completely turn it upside down, and then you're just gonna turn it upside down, and you want to just slightly go in at a slight angle, and then kind of just rotate it like that, and then lift it. There you go.
Gonna have holes?
Yep. Just put it back on. There you go. Anybody else need to try? Has everybody done a crepe? Okay. Hey, girl. How are you?
I'm blessed.
All right. Did you try the pan? Did you want to try?
I'll try the pan, sure.
Okay. Oh, we keep losing that little thing there, but.
How much are you putting in there?
About 1/8 of a cup.
Okay. And when this is dried
And just tip
out,
it really quickly. Yeah, when the light goes out. See the light? You'll hear it kind of click.
Got it. I hadn't been paying attention.
Does it automatically come back on?
No, I have to
you
turn this on.
So it's pressure sensitive.
Yes, it's a safety feature, so it goes out. Did it go out?
I did.
All right.
And it's done?
Yeah, this got a little on the edge there, so you might have to. There you go.
So cool.
It's really fun. I mean, you can just stand here and you just make them. All right, girl. Completely upside down, and just kind of go in at an angle slightly, and then I kind of circle it, just like that. Just a little bit. Yep. There you go. Got one little hole. Let's see if we can, let's fill that hole up. There we go. And I find that when you circle the pan and then kind of tip it to lift it up instead of just pulling it up straight. And you don't have to let it sit there and drain. Just go ahead and flip it over.
Yeah, because it wants to keep you in.
Yeah, it wants to, your tendency, your instinct is to sit there and let it drain off. Just go ahead and flip it back over. All right? There you go. Did you flip it?
I did.
All right. You're good to go. No, that's okay. Okay. Yep. When that light goes out, you're good to go. Caleb, you going to keep making them over there? Okay. I'm going to try my hand at the dessert ones, and we'll see how they do. There you go. All right. Let's make a couple more. See? All right. Hey, Caleb, bring the buckwheat batter bowl over here if you would. Thank you. How are you? Put it right there. Did everybody get a chance to try that wanted to try? Okay. All right. If you want to keep doing, these are the buckwheat. All right. And
This off?
yeah. And then I'm going to try. This is the dessert one. This is in your handout under the strawberry cream one. So we'll see how it cooks up. And like I said, the batter kind of gets thicker and thicker the more you cook, as it I guess because the thinner batter comes up and what's left, especially with wheat, you'll see when you get to the end here, it's just like flour. You know, it's a gooey, doughy, and just you're going to lose a little bit there right at the end. Okay. All right, let's see how this dessert one cooks up. I found one, a recipe that had butter in it. And that one, I had a little trouble with it, like being real moist on top. I don't know, the liquid of the butter just kept kind of cooking out, and it stayed almost wet, on top. Don't need to burn my pan. So I prefer oil when I'm cooking with them. Okay. All right, these are buckwheat. I want to try to keep all this separate. Now see how this one has a little holes in it. I'm not sure, why that. This is the dessert batter. And I'll let Caleb keep making these while we make our chicken filling. And you're going to love this. The first night I tried the buckwheat crepes, I liked them better because they tend to have a little more integrity. They're a little stretchier, not quite as delicate as the wheat ones. And I made a filling. We just stir-fried some beef strips with a lot of garlic and onions and bell peppers. And then we served it. I just used it almost like a tortilla wrap, and we served it with some feta cheese. It tasted a lot like a gyro. It was really, really delicious. And I just put these on the table. It's Caleb and Brad and I, and we just put the meat inside and put the feta cheese in there and just rolled it up and ate it like you would a burrito wrapper. The asparagus and chicken dish I'm going to make for you, we're going to fill it. We're going to bake it in the oven while we make just 15 minutes while we make the asparagus topping. And a lot of crepe recipes you'll see usually have a sauce over it and that kind of thing, a cream sauce, a Mornay sauce, a mushroom gravy sauce or something like that. But I just want to tell you, it doesn't have to be that complicated. You can really use this like a wrap. I even bought sandwich meat yesterday, and I was going to try to do just putting a piece of turkey. Boar's Head has a new blackened turkey breast. It's delicious. And a thin slice of cheese, and then maybe even a tomato and lettuce, and then fold it in a triangle. And you can just be great, just to eat like that as a wrap. So there's just so many, many things you can do. These are our dessert crepes. But there again, like I said, I have not particularly found that I needed a sweet crepe because it's so thin, so tasteless that really you're going to taste that filling anyway. But I'll let Caleb finish making these. You got your work cut out for you. And we're going to fill these with just some cream and chocolate and some strawberries. And one day I had leftover fajita meat, and I just put that in there. It was delicious. In fact, one of my sons from Latvia, that was the first day I tried them, and I was just making the crepes, and I was like, okay, what can I put in them? And I had the fajita meat in the refrigerator. So I just took it out, and we put that. We had a little bit of refried beans and squeezed a little sour cream in there and just folded up. Well, the kids came in from school or wherever they were from, lab or whatever they had gone to that day. And later that night, my son, the second son that we've adopted from Latvia, he goes, I don't know what that was that you gave us today, but it was very good. And they love the blintzes because those are a little bit more like the pancakes that they're used to. And they both told me that my pancakes are different from the pancakes that they're used to, and that's because their pancakes are more like these. They're filled with cheeses and berries and stuff. But honestly, a sprinkling of fruit or a little bit of powdered sugar, you could just eat it. And when I say powdered sugar, I do the powdered sucanat with honey. That's what I use. So I'm going to whisk the crepe maker away. Everybody good with how to do it? Everybody got a chance to try? You all feel like you can do it? What?
And how do you make that?
I'm going to make it in just a minute. I'm going to.
I was going to suggest that they never.
No, they do not ever. So I'm going to show them how to do it in just a minute here. So if you would come get the crepe maker. Caleb, if you will keep these separate. This is the dessert crepes. These are wheat flour, so I want to keep them separate from the buckwheat ones. This one is sweet, yes. That one is wheat flour, just plain.
These?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have a plate? Or is that them over there?
Yep, that's them over here. Have fun with that. See if Caleb can do it. Whoops. All right, so these are the sweet ones.
It's really hard being good.
I taught you well. Did you hear what he said? He said it's really hard being good. All right. Okay, so that's making crepes. Now the rest is the fun part, eating them and filling them and just having fun with them. Like I said, some of the simplest things are just always have chocolate and strawberries. Can't go wrong with chocolate and strawberries. All right, but let's make the chicken asparagus crepes. This was the first recipe I tried. I absolutely loved it. Should be in your handout after the tips on making crepes. Okay. Very, very easy. I've got my chicken already cooked. Now I cooked it in the pressure cooker and then just took it out and shredded it. So, and I have doubled the recipe so that we would have something for lunch after y'all leave, but, and so I'd have plenty here. So we're going to do, this is actually 5 cups of chicken, but all you're going to do is mix your chicken. This is the ricotta, the Parmesan, the chopped fresh herbs. Some of the suggestions in the recipe were chives, dill, mint. I chose rosemary and basil because that's what I have still growing in my garden, and I liked the flavor of it. I think you could really do anything here you want. And let's see, salt and pepper. Okay. And you're just going to mix this mixture up. Y'all are really quiet. Are y'all hungry?
Getting there.
All right. We'll start eating soon. No. We catered a rehearsal dinner Friday night here at the warehouse, and we smoked some turkey breast. Oh my goodness, was it ever delicious. So, all right. This looks like it could use a... Did you measure this chicken or did you just eyeball it? Yeah, I bet. He measured it with his eyeball. Did you hear that? I'm going to add a little more ricotta. It looks like it's just a little bit dry. Remember, recipes are suggestions. Just suggestions. That's all they are. And the sky is the limit here. Okay. And I saw you measure the ricotta with your eyeball. Okay. Does this not have an egg or anything, does it? Okay. I think I'm going to have to get in there with my hands. Yes. What's my opinion on the purchased baked chickens from the grocery store? I do them every now and then. They're a great, I mean, I think of a fast food, that's definitely a better option than some things. In fact, this recipe, it was 2.5 cups of shredded rotisserie chicken, you know. So you could certainly put that in here. But, you know, with the pressure cookers, I hardly need to do that. I can have it done myself so quickly. I mean, you can cook a whole chicken, and I've rubbed it, put a dry rub on it, and put it down in the pressure cooker and roasted it. It's ready in 15, 20 minutes, and it's absolutely delicious. So, and, you know, particularly if you're concerned about the hormones, you know, that are in the chicken, I'm sure those rotisserie chickens that you buy at the grocery store are not, you know, the good hormone-free. So that would be my biggest concern there. But it sure beats some other fast food options that we may choose, you know. So we've been known to buy a rotisserie chicken every now and then. So, all right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take our mixture and take our crepes, and these are the buckwheat crepes, and we're going to put a little bit down the center here, and I just kind of squish it like that, and then I just roll it. You can either fold the ends under if you really want it completely enclosed, but I found that this was not so liquidy that I needed to do that. So the filling was thick enough that I just rolled it. I'm putting it into a buttered casserole dish. Am I not in the right place? Am I? Okay, let's scoot this down. Kind of gotten myself cluttered here. Am I there? Am I going now? All right. All right. So we're just going to fill these, just roll them up. Okay. And it says, what, about a quarter of a cup? I'm probably putting a little more than a quarter of a cup.
You say you put butter in the bottom of the dish?
I did. I buttered the dish, yeah. You just want to make sure it doesn't stick. And I kind of squish that filling, try to get it to go out to the end there. Okay. All right. Just roll it up. And then, okay, now that one's a little thicker. That's okay. Somebody's going, that was probably mine. Y'all made these, so if they don't taste good, they're your fault. Uh-oh. I made the batter, so then it's my fault. I'll take the blame. Okay, any more questions? I haven't. I really labored over the class of how much to do and how much to show you. My suggestion would be go online. There are so many recipes for fillings. But honestly, you don't have to get real, it just really doesn't have to be that complicated. Like I said, Caleb stir-fried us some beef strips that night with some onions and mushrooms and red and yellow peppers and lots of garlic and a little, probably wine, little or sherry or something, poured a little beef broth and just cooked it down, and we just filled it and sprinkled it with a little feta cheese, and like I said, it reminded me very much of a gyro. But there's just endless recipes online that you can get from from putting just ham and cheese in there and sticking it in the oven for a few minutes and making a Mornay sauce, which is just a cheese sauce, to a little more elegant, to crepe Suzette. I didn't realize what crepe Suzette is really just a filled with just an orange cream cheese or some kind of cheesy mixture. And then the thing behind that whole story was it was done for some king that was coming to a restaurant, and he wanted it very, very elegant. And so he drizzled it then with the orange liqueur and set it on fire as the presentation at the table, and it became then just a very, very popular dish. If you look at the recipe, it's not very complicated. The thing that made it so special was setting it on fire. And but another thing that we did the first day I made them, besides using the fajita meat, was I just had some strawberries in the refrigerator. I sliced some strawberries, I squeezed some whipped cream, and put a little bit of the chocolate sauce in there. And I'm going to serve you that in just a little bit, just show you how simple. I'm going to do an almond whipped cream and the chocolate sauce and the strawberries. The flavor combinations were really nice.
Is your dessert group better?
Yes.
You want me to make the rest of this?
Sure. You can make the rest of all of this if you want.
This here.
Not really sure. That's the wheat batter. Yeah. I've gotten myself totally confused. Okay. I was really going to let Caleb roll all these out, but I just got started here, so. I'm almost done. Yes, I am. Does it say to cover it? Yep, cover it with foil. We're going to pop these in the oven while I make the asparagus sauce. My kids loved this dish. And the other thing with crepes, serving them, I mean, you can serve them, like I said, you can make them ahead and fill them. Let's just go ahead and make these last two. Or you can serve them as you make them and let people put their own fillings in. Or you just can do all kinds of things. And they're so nice because you can totally make them ahead and then just have this really nice, looks like very labor-intensive meal, but it's just really not. I think that one was cooked in the pan. All right. I'm gonna leave. Okay, so I'm going to cover this with foil. You just don't want them to dry out. That's the only thing, is you just need to cover the crepes because they are delicate enough and thin enough that they'll dry out very quickly if you just don't cover them. So we're just going to pop them in a warm oven while we make the asparagus sauce. Huh? Do what? I did, but you could stack them up. You could stack them up. Absolutely. Okay. So, my frying pan. These are our Fissler nonstick frying pans. I don't know if you've ever used any of the Fissler products, but they're just an incredibly made frying pan. Their signature is this, the way they make the pan, it will never warp. So no matter how long you have this pan, it will always be a flat pan. Fissler was also the first company to come out with the safe-to-use nonstick coating. By 2012, all companies have to have those harmful ingredients out of their nonstick coatings. Fissler went on and did it. It's been several years now that they've had that out of there. Okay, so we're going to let this butter heat. Well, there we go. It really does not like you to pick the pan up. And these are shallots. You could certainly use, I don't think I had shallots the first time I made it. I just used an onion, but you can use a green onion if you want, whatever. And certainly some garlic if you want that. Hey, Brad, could you get me a chicken broth? Okay. Yes. Crepes and tortillas? Well, you can certainly, like I said, that's what I loved about the buckwheat crepes, because they had a little more integrity, and I think you can actually use them like a tortilla, which is huge for people that are trying to go gluten-free. But a tortilla is flour, water, salt, and oil. Your crepes are eggs, milk, flour, salt. Okay, your crepe is really more like a cross between an omelet and a pancake, whereas your tortilla really is just flour, water, and oil. Okay, so that's why I'm saying if you have egg issues, I don't know how you're going to get around that with a crepe. So you would have to probably go more back to the tortilla, but that's the difference there. Like I said, some people call crepe a very thin pancake. Could you use a tortilla with all? Absolutely. You could use any of these fillings with a tortilla as well. Okay, so now I'm going to just add my asparagus. That's what kind of excited me when I made the buckwheat crepes particularly. I felt like they were sturdy enough that anything you put in a tortilla you could put in that crepe if you wanted to. I'm even thinking, I have a recipe, an old recipe for manicotti. I don't know if any of y'all have ever bought manicotti shells and stuffed them. Well, they're white flour, but I had a recipe that actually was, it's very similar to making a crepe, and then you made your manicotti shell, and then, or you made it just like that, and then you stuffed it just like I just did with the chicken. I don't know why you couldn't do with a crepe, because that's what it tastes like to me, is almost like a noodle. It's that bland. So, all right. Okay, we're just going to saute our asparagus here till it's tender. And then we're going to add some lemon zest. For some reason I thought this had Parmesan cheese in this. Maybe not. I guess you just top it with it. Mm-hmm. Oh, yep. Who had a question? Okay. In the asparagus? I'm missing that. Okay. Somehow that's not on mine, and that's why I was like, I'm sure that was on there. All right, so I need a 1/4 cup of Parmesan cheese. I will. That's probably why that was so thick, was it had all the Parmesan cheese in it. These are our new little Parmesan cheese graters. And the last bit of the herbs. and the chicken broth. I love the Imagine chicken broth. Either make your own or use a really nice chicken broth. Okay. Okay. And then the zest of a lemon. Any other questions? I love this microplaner, by the way. It really does a nice job. And when you're zesting, go ahead and, unless you really need to measure, which I don't hardly ever measure the zest, but one thing that's nice about this one is if you do want to measure, you can put the little guard on the back side, and it actually has graduation. So as you zest, then you can tap it and it'll show you the amount. But one thing I just read this week in one of my cooking magazines was whenever you're zesting, go ahead and zest it right over the dish or the batter or whatever, because the oils from the fruit and the skin actually help, go down into the batter if you zest it right over it. So I thought that was an interesting little tip. Okay. Okay. So there's our asparagus. And I found that that it could be a little thicker, so I thickened it, I think, with a little flour when I was cooking it at home. You could just let it simmer and reduce a little here. Let's add a little salt and a little pepper. And taste. Going to get a little more Parmesan cheese. Yes. Her question is, if you're gluten-free, could you use buckwheat as a thickener? Absolutely. Yes. Yes, you can use it. Arrowroot starch is another one. I would probably sprinkle it in now and add it. So. Okay. Oh, that's nice. Y'all ready for some? I think I could use just a tiny more salt. And I'm gonna thicken it with I will thicken it with a little buckwheat flour. I don't think that's what I have in here. How about arrowroot? I would make a, dissolve it a little bit before you put it in. Yeah. No, just room temperature water, tap water, and then just stir it in. I don't think so. Her question is, if arrowroot cooks too much, does it break down? I mean, most things you're not going to cook that long. I would put it in definitely more towards the end and see how it's thickened it up very nicely now. Okay. So that was, I mean, you saw how easy the sauce was to make here. So now, to plate our crepes, and I just did this at home. I just took the crepes out of the oven, and I just fixed each person's plate and set it on the table, and then we had a salad and a roll. So let's get our crepes out of the oven. I don't know why nothing's liking my hands today. I can't get that to turn on. All right. So our crepes are warm. And I fixed 2 for each person on the plate, so I kind of just did them like this. I just put the sauce over the top and grated a little more Parmesan cheese. And there's just, and you saw how easy it was. And if you had those crepes already ready and you cooked the chicken in the pressure cooker and had it already ready, I mean, you could whip this up in nothing, in no time at all, and have just a really nice meal. When we added a salad and we had some rolls. You really don't even need a salad with the asparagus, so it's up to you. So there's the chicken and asparagus. All right, I'm gonna let Caleb plate the rest of these and serve y'all the chicken with asparagus. Yes? Yes, I do. She asked when I cooked the chicken in the pressure cooker, and that was the other thing I thought, how deep do I want to go with prepping this? And I thought about cooking the chicken in the class, and I'm like, we're going to get way diverted into the crepes and everything. But the crepes are so easy. I mean, we're done with making crepes now. It's just what do we want to fill them with. But I do, even if I just do chicken breast or a whole chicken, I go ahead, I never waste cooking a chicken. If I'm going to use that chicken in a casserole or tortilla or something like that. I mean, if I'm serving chicken breasts, then I cook them plain. But I always cover them with water. Onions, celery, carrots are my standard salt, pepper, Italian seasoning, or whatever herbs I want, and 10 minutes for chicken breasts is all, even with all the stock and everything. So like yesterday, I cooked 6 chicken breasts, and I made a gallon of chicken stock. Brad's taking it on a camping trip for chicken soup, so it works. But I always cook it like that. A whole chicken, about a 3 to 4 pound chicken, takes about 20 minutes with all the stock. The chicken breast, it's 10 to 12, depending on how many you have in there. And it's just so easy, so easy. And then you've got that stock to do whatever you want with. All right?
How much liquid do you start when you pressure cook?
It depends on how much I'm doing, but typically the rule of thumb with the pressure cooker is 2/3 full. The pot can be with liquid, okay? So 2/3 full. But usually for 6, 8 chicken breasts, I'm going to do 6 to 8 to 9 maybe cups of water.
How big is your pressure cooker?
Well, I have big ones, I have little ones. Depends, there again, it depends on how many chicken breasts you're cooking and how big is your pot. But my 10-liter pot, I can do a lot in it. So Thanksgiving class, we'll do a turkey in the 10-liter pressure cooker. It's very delicious, very delicious. And that way your oven's free to do all your other baking. You're cooking on top of the stove. So anyway, all right, well, let's get to eating the chicken and asparagus. Y'all ready? All right, I'm going to get Caleb to plate these. Here you go, sweetie. Okay, you can just wrap those. I don't need them, I don't think. All right. Okay, what do we have over there? We have dessert crepes and buckwheat crepes. I don't know what is that? Here, you can have this. Oh, here. There you go. Okay. All right. It's funny how you think you're going to remember everything. I think these are the wheat crepes. Yes. Maybe I'm just getting old. Do you want the Parmesan cheese? Okay. All right. Okay, here's what I made another time. And again, now these are wheat crepes. I can make one for whoever needs buckwheat if you want. How many of y'all want buckwheat? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Can you bring me several buckwheat crepes, Caleb, over here? That's the buckwheat ones? Okay. Ah, I shouldn't have put that heavy tray on those. It squished all the filling out. That was dumb. Okay. In your handout, you'll see the strawberry cream crepes. And that's what this mixture is, the strawberries and cream cheese. And all I did to serve it was I filled it with the cream mixture, and I just put it kind of to the back side. And this mixture comes out thick sometimes, depends on how much those strawberries juice off and how long you let them sit. The first time I made it, it was much thicker. It was almost spreadable. So sometimes you're going to find it's easier to close it in, to fold those ends under, and then just roll it up. And then what I do to serve it is I put just a little cream down the center. And I topped it with a little strawberries. And my kids thought I was very fancy. And then I put little chocolate chips. You can use, of course, your whole bars if you want, but I'm using the chocolate chips that we sell here, and just grate them. And my kids thought this was fabulous for breakfast. Yes, this is the cheese grater. It'll grate chocolate or cheese or whatever. So there's our strawberry Cream cheese. Now, like I said, we're going to eat the dessert crepe somewhere else, but the dessert crepe recipe that I made is what's there with your strawberry cream cheese. But this one is just the wheat crepes, just the basic crepe recipe. So it's not a sweet recipe at all. You certainly could use that sweet crepe recipe there if you wanted to. Yes?
That would be nice with the avocado chocolate pudding.
Oh, yeah. Y'all know about the chocolate satin that would be very good inside the crepe. We'll have to get you that recipe. The chocolate satin that it's chocolate pudding, but there's no milk, no dairy at all. It's made with avocados and the raw chocolate. And oh, why didn't I think of that? Spread inside there with strawberries, that would be fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. So, okay. So there's our strawberry cream cheese crepes. And I'm going to let Caleb plate the rest of those and serve those. Might need to get Dad helping you here. And they squish, so if you need to put a little extra cream cheese in there, I'll put that over here for you. Do you have the dessert crepes made? Okay. I'm piling up on you here. I'm sorry. There we go.
Oh, so good, yeah.
Yeah, I'll give you these strawberries in just a minute. Okay. All right, let's make our cheese blintzes, all right? Oftentimes, the blintz filling can be ricotta cheese. This is the plum raspberry crepes. It's really a blintz. That's just a Russian name for a cheese-filled crepe. So I'm going to make the cheese filling first. A lot of times it's ricotta cheese, but this particular recipe called for cottage cheese. So I'm just going to dump in my cottage cheese. I think it's 2 eggs. Hey, Brad, when you get done there, Caleb could probably use a hand. And then I use the honey granules. Also, just remember when you're looking at any recipe online, if it calls for sugar, you can use the honey granules. Brown sugar, use the sucanat or molasses granules. Okay, I don't remember. Teaspoon of vanilla. Yes? Yes. On the honey granules, substituting, or the molasses granules or sucanat, substituting them for white sugar and brown sugar, it's 1 for 1. So just keep that in mind for all your holiday baking or anytime you see a recipe online, it's 1 for 1. Okay? Honey is different. Honey you're going to cut in half. Like if it calls for a cup of sugar in a recipe and you're going to substitute honey, it's a half a cup. So honey you cut in half. And you might have to adjust your liquids there a little bit. Okay? So now all I'm going to do is blend my blend it until it's nice and smooth. And there's my filling for my crepes. All right, so I've got my filling made. Now I'm going to make my plum sauce. This recipe actually said to like microwave the plums, and I just don't use a microwave. So I just decided, why couldn't I saute it in a pan? And I really love the way it came out. So I just melted a little butter. One of the big things you'll see when you go online and look for ideas for serving crepes is Nutella. How many of y'all know what Nutella is? It's sinful. And but I want to give you some good news. We actually have a healthy version coming. I was hoping to have it by today's class, but they didn't get my order in soon enough, so we should have it in a few weeks. It's a hazelnut chocolate spread. And what I found out when I was investigating and looking at this particular hazelnut chocolate spread is Nutella actually has more sugar in it than store-bought chocolate frosting. So they said if you're trying to wean your children from this new healthier version of the Nutella that's not nearly as sweet, but it tastes delicious. It's amazing. I've had several brands, but this brand it was like, whoa, that tastes like Nutella. But so they said if you're trying to wean them off of the sweetness that they're used to, take them to chocolate frosting first. And they said because the Nutella actually has more sugar than chocolate frosting. And it's billed as this healthy, healthy thing because it's chocolate and hazelnut. But the other thing that I don't like about Nutella is they use artificial vanilla. So it has artificial flavoring in it. So anyway, I'm real happy about the brand that we'll be getting in the next few weeks. It's called Justin's. It's delicious, and we're getting an almond butter and a peanut butter. Yeah. So, all right. So instead of heating my plums in the microwave, I just sauteed them in a little butter. And I really just kind of let them simmer. I'm actually thinking I used sucanat here instead of sucanat with honey or honey granules. I don't remember. Any questions? Yes? The butter. I put just a little bit of butter in there. Yes, I don't know. They were all in the same. I bought this big container at a restaurant supply store, and I don't know why some were yellow and some were red. I preferred the red ones, but we're going to add the raspberries, so it'll make it red. But I was a little shocked that they were all different. One was red and one was yellow. So, how was the chicken?
Wow, great.
Did you like? And that, you saw how easy really that was. I literally made the crepe. I did it at home. I made the crepes, cooked the chicken. Right there. That's why I really thought about showing you the whole process, but I was like, nah, you know how to cook the chicken. But it really wasn't a very long, even standing there making the crepes. The crepes are kind of like tortillas. The only thing different is they're a little tedious because it's a minute or so to make. But get the kids involved in it. Show them how to do it, and they can do it. Or make them ahead. Have them already made. Yes?
I got a little impatient with the light coming back on up the temperature, so I just started trying it, and it actually worked fine. Without staying on. As soon as I dropped one off, I put it back in the batter and set it on.
Oh, I do that anyway.
I didn't wait on the light.
Yeah, you don't have to. I never have found that you have to let it reheat between each crepe. I just go ahead. As soon as I dump one, I stick it right in the batter again. Okay, so I'm going to put a little sucanat with honey. And now it'll start kind of cooking the juice out when you add that sugar or that sweetener. See how it's juicing off now? I just do not know why it doesn't like my magnetism today. And I think I actually used a little flour here to thicken this. I'm just going to use, that was my arrowroot powder. That I used in the asparagus. And you know, you could do anything with that chicken and asparagus. That you could have done broccoli. How many of y'all aren't as old as I am, most of you, but how many of y'all remember the Magic Pan, the restaurant that was down at Perimeter Mall? Oh, I just remember when I was in college, we would come into town and we'd have luncheons there at the Magic Pan. And one of my favorites was they would actually fry them. They would fill them, close them up, and then fry them where they were actually very, very crispy. Now we're going to do the cheese blintz. When we get them, we're going to fill them and fry them. Oh, which that's what I was supposed to do before I made the plum sauce. That's okay. We'll let this thicken here. I'm going to add just a little more arrowroot. But I know, you know, some is just as simple as steaming some broccoli and cheese and meat of your choice. We don't do ham, but that was one that was a lot of times used. That's why I got that turkey yesterday. I never did get to try it. I ran out of time yesterday. Yes, a little more arrowroot. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm going to just let this simmer just a little bit to get a little thicker. And then we'll add the raspberries in towards the end.
Mom, did you want a strawberry slice on top of these?
Sure.
Can I use some of these?
Yes. Mm-hmm. And the chocolate? You grated, oh, you grated the chocolate already. Okay. All right, so let's let this simmer a little, and we'll start making our blintzes. What was that salt for? Oh, that's my seasonings that's supposed to go in there. All right, my salt and my cinnamon. Oh, there we go. That's the smell I was looking for. Okay. All right. So now, let's make our blintzes. I'm going to save the dessert crepes for just a quick little treat that I'm going to make for you here. So these are the buckwheat crepes that I was making before class. Now on these, I'm going to take some of the cheese mixture and I'm going to put it on the back side of the crepe. And this one I'm going to totally fold up. Okay, I'm going to enclose it. I'm going to fold in the sides and fold this over to make a little pocket. Okay? Keep doing this. How's that? The strawberry cream cheese. And you see, the filling is just cream cheese and strawberries. You just sweeten the strawberries slightly, let them sit to pull the liquid out, drain that liquid off, and then throw them in. The cream cheese, and with a little, I think it has a little vanilla, a little more sweetener there. You could use whatever, yes. I would just let them thaw and drain that liquid off. Like I said, the first time I made it, it wasn't, the filling wasn't that thin. Have y'all caught up with me yet? Because if you have, I'm going to let you help me fill these blintzes. These were some of my favorite. This was one of my favorites. Because now we're going to, oh, you know what? We needed to do a few buckwheat ones. Here you go. Sorry, whoever needed buckwheat. Uh-oh, you already ate wheat. I'm sorry, darling. I meant to. Here you go. Here's 3. Got it?
What are you doing?
Bring in these. These are buckwheat. Okay, they're buckwheat. All right. Is this the recipe where you're making almond cream? No, this is the cheese blends. This is the cottage cheese. This is the plum raspberry. Okay. And I'm using the buckwheat crepes here. I've never done them with the buckwheat crepes, but like I said, I like the buckwheat crepes just fine. Okay. Now here's what makes these just exceptional, is once we get them filled and rolled, and see this you could do ahead of time, now then we're going to fry these in just a little bit of butter, and it just makes them nice and crisp and just a little extra oomph, and then top them with the plum sauce. And I think when I serve these for dessert, I put a little drizzle of chocolate on there. I love our new chocolate sauce that's agave nectar and cacao raw chocolate powder. It's very nice. It's not very sweet. And you can actually, if you fold these, I folded them the first time. I don't know why I'm not getting them as square. I really folded them more square the first time I did them. So they look like little pockets. There you go, that one. Just a minute, when they catch up with me, I'll let them finish folding these while we start frying. Because I think I've got enough to give every one of y'all your own, instead of having to cut these. And see, I mean, see how you think crepes, have you ever had that impression that crepes were this just like very delicate, dainty, hard to make? They're not. And they really, even if they stick together a little bit, they pull apart. They don't just cling. Even when I refrigerated them overnight and came in this morning, I was a little nervous. I was like, oh dear, you know, are they really going to come apart? They all came apart. So you don't have to line them. I mean, some directions I saw had you lining each one with wax paper, and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. And then I saw another said just stack them up and go with it. And so I did it, and it worked. I've not tried freezing them, but that's what the directions said, was that you could freeze them that way. Okay. All right. All righty. Now we're just going to add our raspberries. Oops. These just this morning have gotten a little, raspberries are so delicate. Oh, sorry, that's my fault. I moved it over. Is it in now? Nope, still not in? Okay. I just got so much going on here. I'm just adding the raspberries to the plums. Okay. Okay. So there's our nice, pretty, isn't that pretty? You're going to love the flavor of this. And when you mix it with the warm, when we heat this just a little bit and it's warm. Okay, Caleb. If you want to continue to fill me some more of these blintzes with the buckwheat crepes. And that way, I want everybody to be able to have their own. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I've got 11 here. So, and you can do however many you want. Here's the rest of this cream. I know you've got a bowl full over there. Okay. All right. So now all we're going to do, like I said, if you have these made ahead, just like you could do with, just like I did with the cream cheese filled ones. Those I made, no, I actually did those first thing this morning. That's right. But you could have this all prepared and ready to go, and then just fry them up. I have seen recipes where you put them in the buttered dish and heat them in the oven. I think you could do the same thing if you were really doing it for a large crowd. But this was nice. My kids really enjoyed that I just fried each one and served it for them. So now all we're going to do is let our pan get hot here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. How many people here? Okay. So now all I'm going to do is carefully and put it seam side down first. You don't want to overcrowd your pan because then they're a little delicate to flip. But if you do it seam side first, it kind of cooks that together. And you just want it to get lightly browned. The tricky part's getting it turned over, I find. I use a spatula and a fork. There we go. See? Just gives it a nice little crispy edge to it. That one came undone with all that handling. Fold it up a little tighter. Yeah, see, I folded that one more tightly than that one. Don't be scared to wrap it up. Remember, they're so thin and delicate that getting them a little thick, you know, it's not like a tortilla. When you fold it, you get down to that last bite and you're just like, that's a lot of dough there. All right, I turned this up too high now. Okay, so there's my blintz. Can't seem to get my... You don't want it to get too hot because you don't want it to burn the butter like I just did. Yeah, I burned the butter, so I know. That's what I'm saying. You don't want to. So just put it in seam side down. Hey, Brad, if you could come get me some plates, and let's serve these warm. They're really nice warm. And here's how I'm going to serve it. Just a little strawberry. You could do a dollop of whipped cream if you want, but they really don't need much else. But that's our cheese blitz. Yeah, there we go. Just give everybody one.
Here's some plates.
Okay.
Is that what kind of plates you're talking
Yep.
about?
Go ahead and give that one to somebody. And I really just have one more thing I was going to show you. And that was just a little quick dessert thing that I did yesterday that was fantastic.
You going to have enough of these?
I think so.
You got to make a bunch more.
He's making them.
Oh, he's making them. I got you.
Got it. Go ahead with those. I don't want you to drop any. I keep... Okay, I'm going to turn this down one more notch, see if I can keep it from burning here. How you like those? Who got it? Good? Isn't it a nice combination of flavors and just the warm, crispy? It's just really, I just loved it. My kids were like, okay, what was that? One of my daughters, she said, okay, what's with all the crepes lately? And I'm like, I'm doing a class. I got to try all this stuff. I just cannot get this. This thing just doesn't need to be up very high. Okay. You think you could take over this, Brian? No? You can. Okay. All right.
These are not cooked.
No. There we go. Where are you going with them? Oh, you're going to do them over there? Okay, great. And I'm done with this burner. Caleb, you can just take it all over there and keep going.
Do you have the bigger skillet over there? Bigger pan?
It's probably in.
Raspberry.
Yes.
Is there a medium one?
I don't know. There you go. Here, Brad, if you want to take him all this, butter, this, and the plum sauce. Okay, how's that? Those of you that have had it. You love it? And y'all are like, okay, okay, okay. Yeah, okay, the next crowd, we're going that way first. Here you go. Take that to Caleb. All right, one last thing I'll show you, recipe serving idea. Just take, oh, you got them. And this I just whipped up yesterday because I lay in bed at night thinking of things, you know, they just pop into my head. They just pop in, oh yeah. He's saying I think of him. Yeah, I probably do. Yeah. All those sleepless nights you kept me awake. You want me to wash that for you? You can do it. I've got confidence in you. I lay in bed thinking how you can wash that pan. All right, so now you need this cheese back. Brad, you want to hand this back over to him? We're playing back and forth game. All right. And if you could bring me that platter that has those crepes on it, that would be good. Just bring them here. I'll put them on a plate over here. I'm not sure what kind they are. Are these buckwheat ones too? Yeah, I think they are. Okay. Yeah. Okay. See, now I let these get a little dried out. I should have covered them, but I think they'll be all right. All right. These are the dessert ones. So these are going to be a little sweeter. I haven't really ever tasted them. I've never made sweet crepes. So what I'm going to do here, like I said, various ways of folding. Roll them. Just simply roll them, leaving the ends open. That's what I did with the chicken. It wasn't so soupy that it was going to come out the ends. The cream cheese one I tried to kind of fold. The blintzes I folded because I didn't want to lose that filling. Now I'm going to just show you another method. It's the triangular fold. And I'm going to powder some sweetener. I've got some honey granules here. This is the Tri-Best blender. I love it, love it, love it. Keep it on the counter. You use it for everything. So I'm going to powder a little sweetener here. All right. Yes. The question is, can you put flaxseed in this blender? Yes. This thing will chop ice, frozen berries, do smoothies, flaxseed, corn for grits. Yes, a quarter cup at the time is all you want to do, but it doesn't take much corn for grits. So, all right. So, how many of y'all know about our whipped cream maker? Oh my gosh, I love it. But you can, you know. Anyway, so we're going to make some almond whipped cream. So I'm going to put my pint of whipped cream in here. The whipped cream maker will hold a pint. This is heavy whipping cream, yes. I discovered this week light cream does not whip. I had to know, and it won't. About 2 tablespoons of powdered sweetener. And then a teaspoon of almond extract. We sell the new, these are our organic, actually 2 teaspoons, our organic flavorings. Okay. Yes. That was the powdered sugar. That's what I use in place of powdered sugar. Okay, now I'm going to give it a little shake here just to get that sweetener all dissolved in. Now all I'm going to do is put my cartridge in. I need to take that off. Put my cartridge in. Screw it on. Shake it up. Yes? What? This? Oh, sure. Yes. Whoops. What's going on there? Okay, so now you can take your cartridge off. Your whipped cream is made. Okay, it's completely made. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little almond whipped cream, put a little strawberries. That's probably a little too much cream, but you can't get too much cream. I know. Okay. And I've heated our chocolate syrup here. Just put it in a container of just a pot of water to heat it slightly. Then I'm going to drizzle this. No, this is this we already have in. This is the chocolate agave syrup. This is just agave and cacao, raw chocolate. All right, so there's that. And now, can you see over there? I'm going to fold it this way, and then I'm going to fold it again that way. Okay? And I'll cut these in half to serve them, but 2 weeks at least it'll keep in the refrigerator. So this is, it really, really makes it very nice. All right, so I'm going to just put a little, whoa, hello. Yes, it was just like 2 tablespoons of sweetener, and it can be agave nectar. It can be the powdered sucanat. Since I was powdering the sucanat, I just used that. Yes, I'm sorry, the sucanat with honey. Yes. You could do the sucanat. It's just going to give it kind of a molasses kind of flavor, which I think would be okay if that's what you want. You can put cocoa powder in there. You can sweeten it with some of the whipped honeys that we have. Those make great sweeteners because then they've got the flavoring, the orange, the raspberry, the strawberry. You can put cocoa powder. Like I said, I used almond extract. Just really, really, the sky's the limit here, whatever you want to do. I put 2 teaspoons for the pint of whipping cream. I forgot, I thought it was a teaspoon, but yesterday I only did a cup, a half a pint. So there we go. You know, now if you were plating this for guests, I probably would put it here, drizzle a little more, maybe put a couple of strawberries on top, drizzle a little chocolate sauce. And here's a trick I learned. This is the powdered sucanat. Just run it through a strainer. And that gives you that. There you go. How's that? Okay. But see, I think you could so do these with like meat and cheese, and even if you did the smaller ones, you know, with meat and cheese, and you could serve them on a tray, you know, like an hors d'oeuvre tray. Just be great. So there you go. So now these are the dessert crepes. So I haven't tasted them ever, so I'm kind of anxious to try this too. So I'll keep making these, and they're getting the blintzes for you. How we coming there? Does everybody have blintz? All right, well then we're gonna, the last shall be first over here. So we're gonna start with them with this. You wanna bring me some plates, and I'll I'll start getting these. So you see, I mean, if you got, the first day I made the crepes, I did the leftover fajita meat, and I had whipping cream from a cooking class. I just did that and put some strawberries and some chocolate on there. I mean, you know, so if you have these, you can make a dessert out of things you have on hand. Put peanut butter, you know, you're going to love the Nutella spread. So. Yep. Yep. Is it under the camera now? All right, so I've put my whipping cream on. Let me clear some of this out of the way so you can see. All right, so I've put the whipping cream. Now I've done the berries. Drizzle with a little chocolate. We're going to fold it that way and then that way. And that's actually how, whatever I had in Baltimore, I can't remember now what it was, that was how it came. It was a bigger crepe, and it was folded like that. So, okay. My daughter came home from dance the night we did my son Caleb did the beef and the onions and everything. And Brad and Caleb and I had eaten all the meat out of the dish. So there was a little bowl sitting there. It had all the onions and peppers and the gravy. And she came in and the next morning, and I had actually gone to bed, and she had come in, and she comes in from dance after dancing for 3 hours. She was starving. And I kind of left it out for her, but I guess we kind of picked on the meat till there was no meat. So the next morning she pointed to, she had left a little dish sitting there after she got out, where she goes, "What was that?" And I'm like, "Well, did you have some?" She goes, "Well, I didn't want all that onion and pepper stuff." And she said, "So I found the crepes in the refrigerator, and I just poured that gravy all over it, the juice of it." And she said, "And I ate that." And she goes, "I don't know what it was, but it was really good, really, really good." She likes gyros, and I had thought that she was going to end up with some, but she didn't. We loved it. You could, you know, almost leave them open if you wanted. Okay. All right, if you want to bring me some plates, I'll start cutting these in half, and you can start serving these. Did everybody get the cheese blintz now? No, still haven't? We're still working on them? Okay.
Let's just start back in the front.
Yeah. Okay. Here you go. Somebody want to start? You want to? Okay.
Bring them. All right. You just did two?
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, that's the crepe class. Do y'all feel like crepe masters now?
I'm feeling a little crepey right now.
Crepey. Oh, I should have put the
All right, what is this last stuff you put on there?
little powdered sugar.
Powdered sugar.
There you go. Here, then we can serve this one too. That one has lots of chocolate. This chocolate is not real sweet. It's more like more like a dark chocolate. Tell me if you can taste a difference in the sweet crepe, if you can really taste it. Yeah. I just love the almond. I discovered I really like almond flavoring. It's kind of in the cherry family. We have we have a whole line of organic extracts, almond, and I believe we have a hazelnut and orange and coconut. I mean, some that you don't just regularly see out in the store. Add a little almond extract to your punch at Christmas time. Really, really takes that bite out of the, you know, like if you use a lot of cranberry juice or whatever. Okay, that is just so pretty to me. How we doing over there? No, the dessert crepe. This one is the dessert crepe that's made with wheat, and it's the sweet one. It does have a little sucanat, the sucanat with honey granules, and it has a little vanilla in it. So that's a wheat. That one's wheat. You're getting your dose of wheat today, aren't you? I labored yesterday of whether to make them all out of buckwheat or, you know, but I thought, well, I thought I could keep it all straight, and and I just got myself nice and confused.
These are the buckwheat ones, right, Taylor?
Yes, the blintzes are buckwheat. Well, one thing you can say, you did not go away hungry, right?